My name's David Pendleton. I've worked at Bass Pro Shops for 6 years now. Tonight we have the introduction to kayaking. And we're going to go through a few of the kayak styles, some of the gear you would need, and a few ways that you would use the kayaks. I have my assistant here, Candy.
Hi.
And she is actually sitting in one of the smaller recreational kayaks. First thing I'm going to do is go through the different types. Kind of explain to you what you would use one for, and kind of price points you're looking at when you're going to buy them. Starting out, you'll notice between these boats there are two distinct different styles. You have a sit-inside style kayak and a sit-on-top style kayak. The sit-inside is more of a drier ride, but often people think of this as a kayaking. When they think of kayaking, they think of the sit-inside style. The sit on top, it's a little bit wetter of a ride, but it's generally safer. If you were to fall out with a sit on top kayak, you can just climb right back onto it, as opposed to having to flip this over and drain the water out of it. You'll notice between these four kayaks, there are several different lengths. We have the shorter, fatter style kayak, which Candy's sitting in. These are more of your recreational style kayaks. And we have the longer, narrower kayaks, which are your touring style kayaks. These kayaks are going for the longer style kayaks, for going more straight distance against the current, against the wind for longer distance. You can also put more gear into these boats. The smaller kayaks, like the Otter here and the Yak board, are more for shorter distances and for more maneuvering type situations. As you go up into the longer boats, you're gonna have a higher price point. These boats are gonna cost anywhere from $700 to $1,000. The lower price point boats are gonna start out at about $300, work their way up in the neighborhood of $500. Between these styles here, I chose these because they show the gamut of all the style boats that we have. The more flat bottom style boat is more of a surf kayak. You can take that out in the Tybee, but you would not want to go any type of long distance in it because you'll kill yourself trying to paddle that far. This is a similar style. This has got more of a V design to it. It will not work well in surf conditions, but it's good in short recreational paddling. A little bit better in creeks, tidal creeks, ponds, things like that. These are good boats for kids. Generally recommend to sit on top just because it's a safer boat for a kid. As we go up in style, we have a more recreational touring. Now again, this is a sit on top. It's actually a fishing kayak here. It has the fishing rod holders, it has an area for a paddle, and it has dry storage up top. So you can actually fill the whole hull of this boat with gear if you would like to. It has an optional seat that comes with it. A lot of people think it's just sitting on top of a plastic mold, but we're actually marketing these seats now, being almost as substantial as these seats as far as back support and that kind of thing, and padding. This is more of your touring style boat. It has dry storage in the front and dry storage in the back. That acts as ballast in front of the boat, and what that is, it's flotation. So if you actually flip that boat over, it's not full of water, just the cockpit area is full of water. It'll still float, you can flip it back over, bilge it out, and climb into it. Whereas the boat that Candy's sitting in, if you flip it over, there's a little bit of flotation in it, but the whole boat is going to fill up with water. Candy's sitting in the recreational boat and she's holding one of our paddles. One of the big things that you want to spend your money on if you're going to purchase a new kayak is the paddle. You want a light paddle and a strong paddle. Your more lower end paddles, like this one here, this is an economic paddle. These paddles are actually, they're aluminum, but they're not as stable. If you want to push off in the sand, actually take a chance at bending these paddles. Candy's holding, this is a fiberglass paddle that's been wrapped with a carbon fiber coating on it. And as she's holding it, I'll just show you how to hold this here. You've got one end that has a bump on it. You feel it? Yeah. Right there. You have a loose end. The bump end is going to be your grip hand. Okay? Your loose hand, your other hand's loose. And you're going to rotate down. And when you do that, at the top of your paddle, you're going to rotate down with your hand like this. You notice the top of your paddle up here is turned, cutting the wind like that. Then you're going to rotate your wrist backwards, like that, and you're going to come through. A lot of people have a difficult time at first doing this kind of stroke, but over time you'll actually develop it. A couple hours you'll actually be quite good at it, but it'll take the strain off of your wrist. People like to start out often with the paddles together where they're actually the same level and not offset. We always recommend they use an offset paddle when they go to kayak, and that's for the wind and for your wrist. You have a 230 centimeter, a 240 centimeter, and they actually, excuse me, 220, 230 are your standards, and then 240 is your longer. Depending on the person size and depending on the boat width is really the way you sell those out. One thing we also recommend are life jackets. Even if you can swim, getting into these boats can be kind of dangerous. You can fall out if you're at a boat ramp or something like that. You can fall, hit your head, knock yourself out, and if you're by yourself, you're really going to be in trouble unless you have one of these. So, a kayaking vest is different than a ski vest because it's cut much lower. It's not going to ride up on you. It's not going to chafe you, and you can go longer distance in it. I'd probably do Tybee. It's a good area. Skidaway Island, Skidaway Narrows. That's also a good area. And if you're just wanting to start out, a place like Lake Mare, Tom Triplett Park.
You can use the same boats, but you won't have to tie with the saltwater.
They're all plastic. They have stainless steel fittings on them, so they're pretty much saltwater proof. You want to rinse them down like anything in saltwater, but